Nintendo stuff. Welcome to Nintendo Stuff, episode 79. My name is Brandon Miracle. I'm joined by co-host and co-founder Logan Welliver. And we have a special guest today, another Brandon from another world. It's Brandon Bovia.
Happy to be here.
You've been listening to this show for a long time. As I
probably
understand
about
it.
a year, I think.
Yeah.
On and off. I won't claim to be like a dedicated listener or anything, but
Sure.
I don't know. I can't even remember how I found this podcast, but it all just sort of happened, and now I'm here.
We're happy to have you. Why don't you tell us, before we get started, we kind of want to talk a little bit about your work in manga lettering.
Yeah, sure. So, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have nothing to do with video games. That is not my job. That is not what I am. I'm not usually in these sorts of like spheres, I guess you could say. I'm a manga person. I show up on manga podcasts to talk about manga because manga is my job. And so I'm what they call a letterer, which is basically like a graphic designer for like the like all of the text elements that you see within the work. And lettering is something that comes from Western comics, but in the case of manga, it's sort of a mix of like traditional Western comic tradition plus localization. So, because we're taking comics from another country, there's a lot of like, text elements that are in Japanese that have to either be subtitled or, replaced in English. And basically, I'm just trying to make sure that the English readers have like as smooth of a reading experience as possible. Yeah. Like I said, nothing to do with video games.
Well, I can say like Logan and I read Dragon Ball Super, and it's always a smooth read. So thank you for your hard work.
Of course, it's a pleasure, and I love working on Dragon Ball. So
why don't you tell us?
And also, I wouldn't
ahead,
say
Logan.
that you don't belong here. I mean, maybe your forte isn't video games, but you are among manga appreciators and anime watchers as well. So
yes, I feel like it's all sort of this like nerdy umbrella,
Yeah.
So I've just everybody sort of spec'd a little bit differently, but
there's all, definitely overlap, right?
Absolutely.
So before we get going, why don't you tell us some of the things that you've worked on?
So I've got these bad boys right here. These are the print Dragon Ball Super volumes that I've worked on from volume 9 onwards, basically. And then I do a handful of other series in Shonen Jump, like Kaiju number 8, which has been really, really popular lately. Another Jump manga called Hard Boiled Cop and Dolphin. In terms of video games, I'm working on an Assassin's Creed manga that's coming out on February 16th.
That's true.
That is an adaptation of Assassin's Creed China, I think.
Okay.
No, I know, yeah. And I've worked on Transformers manga from Viz that was localizing some stuff that ran in Japan in the 80s. So bringing that overseas for the first time in like 40 years was a really, really cool experience. And then I've just, I do all sorts of stuff here and there.
So
but I think
how did you end up in the industry? Was this your plan? Did you kind of fall into this? How did that happen?
I definitely fell into it. Well, so I guess I've been an appreciator for lettering long before I got a job in the industry. Because I used to draw my own comics, and of course, I grew up on manga and anime and stuff. So I was like,
sure.
My comics are of course very manga inspired, and I was looking at like not only the art styles but taking inspiration from the lettering that I would see in like Shonen Jump and other stuff. So I would do my best to I want my comic to look as official as possible. And so that's how I started taking an interest in lettering, and kind of through drawing my own comic, I got pretty all right at it. Mm-hmm. And then some manner of like 5 years passed after I stopped drawing that comic. And then I was like, I still got these skills, and I randomly applied to one publisher and they got back to me. And then that was sort of it. It's just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah, it's like if you miss every shot you don't take, right?
Yeah, basically. There, and it was a total just like on the whim thing. That was for a publisher called Seven Seas, and that I applied to them back in like 2016. And then, funny enough, how I got into Viz was even funnier because I knew one of the editors there. Just like we were Twitter mutuals for a good while, way before I even thought about becoming a letterer. And then I became a letterer, and then I told him I became a letterer, and it was like, just come work for us. And I was like, sweet.
It's funny you say that because like the majority of interactions that you and I have had just come from the fact that we became Twitter mutuals at some point.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like Twitter and social media is a cursed modern landscape, but I've gotten a lot of work from it, and I've met some cool people, so I guess it's not all bad.
No, not at all. And Logan, real quick, I'll let you call out this super chat.
Oh yeah, Zoe Adams. I assume that's how you pronounce it.
Stuff and the cat suit and all that is super fun. So sort of mixing that with Odyssey style level design, I'm stoked. I wish it were multiplayer. That seems to be my only gripe so far with it. But just the pretty much anything from like that 3D Mario team, I'm in. I'm in.
Well, I mean, it's kind of multiplayer.
Yeah, it's multiplayer in the same way that Odyssey is multiplayer.
We don't exactly know like how much control Player 2 is going to have over Bowser Jr. But looking at it, it seems like it'd at least be more substantial than like Mario Odyssey or Mario Galaxy 2, where you're literally just pointing at the screen and clicking on things.
Yeah.
So I hope it's a little bit more involved, but we can only expect so much.
We can hope.
Okay, so stream is okay. I didn't even realize it was gone.
Yeah, it seemed to have been going down and up, but I'm not sure what's going on.
James Diaz puts it, I think, the most perfect way I've seen so far. It's the Little Brother multiplayer.
It's absolutely the Little Brother multiplayer.
Speaking of little ones, we have a special guest.
Oh my!
Special guest Addie. Hi, Addie.
Aww.
Say hi.
Say hi. Hi, Addie. So if you're listening to this on podcast sources, you should be watching us on YouTube. We record live every week. You're missing out on the cuteness in the bottom of the screen here. Hi, Addie.
Hi.
Oh, that's all she's got for us. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Santi says we dropped out. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Hi. Welcome to Nintendo Stuff. Honestly, Addie, I don't think you remember this, but we uploaded a video of you reacting to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's reveal trailer when you were a baby.
All right.
Oh my god, really?
She wasn't very enthused, So maybe we need to have her back on the show where she can talk about her current opinions on the matter.
Absolutely.
And calling back to the chat earlier, you guys said we dropped out briefly. Logan, can you go ahead and shout out Zoe again? The show dropped out during while you were talking about that.
Oh yeah, so the $2 super chat from Zoe Adams. Thank you so much for that. Zoe comes from the stream that I was doing just before this on my personal channel over on Twitch, doing some Stardew Valley. So appreciate that. Thank you, Zoe.
While you didn't have your headphones on, me and Brandon were talking about Addie, and I brought up the fact that we have uploaded a reaction video of her reacting to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
The infant being like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, she wasn't too excited about the whole thing.
Honestly, it sounds perfect.
You should check it out. It's still up on the channel. I was thinking we should have her back on the show, and she can give us her current opinions.
Be like, what?
She can say KK now. Maybe we'll have her talk about Animal Crossing.
Oh my gosh. I don't think she would be like, what's happening here? And then she would be like, nope, I'm gone. And then like walk off and do something else.
not to plug another podcast, I wish I knew the name of it, but I've seen TikToks of it, of this guy. He's having a podcast with, I assume, is like his toddler daughter, and like she's completely into it, just giving him full on reactions, and he's talking to her like she's an adult. It's really incredible. So I wish I knew the name, but seek that out if you can. It's really cute.
I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds amazing.
But back to Mario. I had theorized before they'd given us more information, but Bowser himself seems to run on a timer, and
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he just kind of incubates, I guess you could say, before he hatches.
Yeah.
And then you're just stuck with him for a while, assuming you don't have the the Super Cat Bell ready. And I think that's pretty cool. I think there's going to be a lot of potential for speedrunners to just kind of run this whole mode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what we've heard is that you fight Bowser repeatedly. So every time you beat Bowser, you open up more of the map. So the whole map isn't available to you at first. You beat Bowser once, a new area appears. You beat him again, another area appears. So it's going to expand, and I think just the overall open nature of it is going to make speedrunning really interesting.
Yeah.
I think especially in those first few weeks where people are going to be trying to figure out what the fastest routes are. So I'm very excited for that. It does
Odyssey speedrun content is... Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Odyssey speedrun content is so entertaining to watch. Like, I can't wait to see what kind of stuff that people pull. And even just in the base game itself, because I saw that they just increased everybody's movement speed from the Wii U version.
They did.
So it's like, what in the world are the speedrunners going to do with this game to just like break it even further? It's gonna be really fun to see.
So like in the last maybe 2 years, I've gotten a lot more into like speed running and mostly watching, not really doing any speed runs.
Yeah.
But part of the reason for that was I was able to volunteer at AGDQ 2020, running some sound boards. So I got to run sound during a Zelda relay. Which was the first 3 Zeldas, and that was a lot of fun. But ever since then, I've kind of been paying a lot more attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as I saw this mode, I was like, oh, this is totally a shorter speed running thing that could happen. And with the way that it's kind of more open, again, it'll be really, really interesting to see the kind of strats that the community comes up with and how quickly they're able to finish it and what kind of categories it will spawn and whatnot. So I'm really excited for that. That honestly might be the most exciting thing to me about this. I mean, other than just playing it myself. Yeah, just seeing what people will do with this, considering it doesn't seem like it's going to be that long of a mode.
Yeah.
Only a few hours at most.
And
I have to...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, somewhat related. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing social media flare up when 3D All-Stars came out, and everybody was just posting clips of and being like, "Wow, Sunshine is super janky," and all of this other stuff. That sort of flood of content of people discovering 3D World for the first time is going to be. I'm going to be thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, that's another good point, because who played 3D World? Let's be honest.
Of the 70-something million Switch owners, versus the 13 million Wii U owners, that's a lot of people who did not play this the first time around.
This is a
well, I mean, how much did
3D
3D World sell on the Wii U? Oh, it looks like it's 5 million units.
Oh my goodness.
That's not even half of what Odyssey has sold so far.
Yeah. 3D World is going to probably triple that, if not more.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, more 3D Mario, I
honestly think this game has potential to outpace Super Mario Odyssey, just for the sheer fact that it's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of families buying this. Odyssey is probably a little too difficult, I think, in some areas, maybe for younger children, and 3D World makes up for that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, all of the
Also outpacing in the sense that, like, okay, Odyssey came out year 1, right? How many
Mhm.
more Switches are out there at this point that people are like,
It's
okay, I
gonna
don't
be
actually have to buy
huge.
the Switch anymore, just got to
Yep.
buy the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that all turns out. I'm glad that 3D World's going to have online multiplayer this time.
Oh yes, I'm very apprehensive. I want it to be good.
Me too.
Like I'm you know, it's Nintendo. Like, there's like you flip a coin basically. You know, will it actually be functional? Will it not be? I was super excited for the multiplayer in Mario Maker, and
I still feel burnt by that because it's still
Yeah.
not good. It's still bad.
but
It'll be like
holding
decent
out.
with 2 players and then a lag fest with 3 or
Yep.
4.
I'm hoping that in the times that we live in, that Nintendo will realize that we can't just rely on local multiplayer right now. So they think the online, they gotta nail it. I really hope that they nail it. It would be so good.
It's I hope that they've learned from Super Mario Maker 2 because is this game EAD?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine so. The like
Yeah.
I think they're porting it in house.
So if that's the case, then they've already had their experience with Mario Maker. So I would hope that
Yeah.
they've learned. I mean, they learned the first day of E3 when they were showing off Mario Maker online, and then people discovered that you couldn't play online with your friends, and they were like, "Hold up, we're gonna add that later."
Oh, gosh, I'm glad that they've at least gotten that right so far. You know, there's always that but with Nintendo and online function. So I'm sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That said, they have not come out and said that you can play online with your friends. They just said you can play online. I hope to God.
Oh no!
Well,
I hope to God you can play with your friends, but
It's gonna
I think
be like this. Like, you're gonna turn online, right? And then it's gonna be like some randos are gonna join you for like a single stage.
oh no.
And then the next stage is gonna
Dear.
be some other randos. It's gonna be like the worst implementation of
Oh,
like
my goodness.
online you could have.
I'd like the online to take an approach similar to Mario Maker outside of the not playing with friends thing. In the fact that there are both lobbies for cooperative play as well as racing, because I think
Ooh.
Super Mario 3D World could be really fun in a racing setting.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the characters don't all run at the same speed. They might have to tweak it somehow to make that a little more fair. But that I could see being really popular, especially
It's time for
among
the
streamers.
Toad meta.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I am excited for this game to come out. It comes out on my birthday, so I know what I'm doing that day.
Yes, February 12th.
February 12th.
Let's go. So close.
I know. This I guess we haven't mentioned this yet, but compared to like last year and the year before, the first few months of Nintendo's 2021 is honestly kind of stacked. We've got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. At the end of February, we have Bravely Default 2. In April, we have Pokemon Snap. Was there a March release? I can't remember.
Yeah, Monster Hunter
Rise.
I feel ashamed.
How?
I was like, okay, the title that we are looking forward to the most
The
of
one
any
game.
of these.
That is basically my game of the year already. It's just
Yeah, absolutely.
We're like all in the same headspace.
yeah.
My wife is yelling at me in chat. I'm sorry. I only have so much memory capacity, okay?
I mean, I could see how you could free it. It's not like a first party Nintendo game or anything. It is an exclusive
for now.
For now, I think. But I think as far as like huge Nintendo releases, God, especially in Japan, this game is gonna sell bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors that it's coming to PC. But we know, like, okay, the most sales, unless it really catches on here, is probably going to be in Japan, because I just don't expect this to sell as much as World did. Now, I might be wrong with that. It might sell even more. But I'm kind of just anticipating that, like, most people are just gonna buy it on the Switch.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I mean-
We have some breaking news that I pointed out, or that I linked in the chat, that we've got
Oh.
a special Monster Hunter Rise edition of the Switch that
Are
looks flippin' sick.
Are you serious? Where?
Oh, I posted it. I'll post it in the Discord chat too.
Whoa! Breaking news.
We got breaking news on the podcast.
Oh, what the heck?
I need that Pro Controller yesterday.
Oh, it comes with a Pro Controller? Oh my god.
No, it
I'd
doesn't
buy
come with
that.
the Pro
Or
Controller.
the Pro Controller
but there's-
separate, but like I don't need the Switch, as beautiful as it looks, but just I'm so glad they're doing a Pro Controller for Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
Oh
see,
my
like,
God.
okay, my intention has been just hold on to my Switch until they announce like an actual like upgrade and then upgrade it,
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
but that
but,
Monster Hunter
like,
Switch is
this is super. Oh my gosh!
Oh.
And the design on the dock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
this
we
is
actually have a designed dock.
This is a full-on special edition. I don't think we've ever gotten one for Switch that's this detailed.
Yeah.
I
Smash the
mean,
last
other
one.
than, and then we got the special edition Animal Crossing one, which really kind of was really out there in terms of its color and how bold it was.
That's true.
But most of them have been pretty tame. And this one definitely is a standout. Honestly, I sometimes wish I could just can I just buy the dock? Right? Like, I
Yeah.
just want the
I'd buy it in a
dock.
heartbeat.
Like, that's I mean the back of the Switch too is gorgeous.
Oh man.
There's a lot to love here. And then also the designs on the Pro Controller. I could definitely see myself. I've been talking about getting another Pro Controller, right? So if I want to play like Smash Bros and have two really competent controllers for people to play with, getting another another Pro Controller. And honestly, I would import this if it doesn't make its way to the States.
And that's
This
the
would
nice
be
thing
my-
about Switch is that it's region free, so you
Free, yeah.
could.
Yeah.
This would be my 4th Pro Controller. I'm gonna buy it.
Oh yeah, I am absolutely.
I'm
buying
a
that.
sucker.
I love the fact that the analog sticks, both on the Pro Controller and on the Joy-Con, have like the 8 directional arrows.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is so cool.
There's a lot of detail packed into this for being, a relatively minimal design at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's. We were just talking about how this game is going to sell bonkers in Japan, and I think the fact that they're making a special edition for it and a Pro Control like this, this is being treated on the level of Smash Ultimate and Animal Crossing, and all of the some of the other huge first party releases that got like special editions and stuff.
I could see this at the very least in Japan, just because of the attach rate for the Switch compared to like the PS4. That this game in particular in Japan would outsell World.
Guaranteed. I think that's probably a lock.
Yeah.
I would be really interested though to see how this does comparatively to World in the West. Just given the fact that like World was kind of this big experiment in really trying to appeal to the West, and then also make some much needed changes, also have a much prettier game. I mean, we were coming off of like
the
3DS.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So while this game doesn't look quite as pretty as World, just given the difference in power of consoles and whatnot, it still looks so much better than any of the 3DS games ever did. And I hope people stick with it, right? I hope the base has really grown, and then hopefully there are more people who are willing to try it out as well, because it's on the Switch.
Yeah.
So
I think this is sort of the perfect storm, right? Like this is, the Nintendo Switch is massively popular. I mean, it's still one platform as opposed to the World launched on the PS4 and Xbox One and eventually PC. So and World is like basically like the best selling Capcom game ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's got really big shoes to fill. But yeah, I don't expect it to do as good as World did here, but I think it will do better than like the 3DS games.
I would hope so.
It'll probably. I mean, I was going to say somewhere in the middle, but that's a pretty wide gap between the.
Now,
3DS
that being said, there are a handful of titles exclusive to the Switch that have outsold World.
This is true.
Yeah. That's true.
I think there's the potential for it. Though I'm still not necessarily anticipating that it will pass that. I think the possibility definitely exists.
I think if we could guarantee anything, it's that this game is likely to slip into the top 10 of highest selling Nintendo Switch software.
If only because of Japan. I think
absolutely.
Because I think that was, gosh, I remember just playing Monster Hunter 4, not Ultimate, but just 4. Is one of the best-selling 3DS games, and that did not get localized.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's in the top 10, and that's just like, holy crap.
Thinking even harder about this, we're getting a full-on Nintendo Switch Special Edition, but I'm surprised that there isn't a Nintendo Switch Lite Special Edition, because I could see that performing even better in Japan than this version.
Oh yeah,
very true, very true.
But I mean, if you don't have a Switch yet, and you're planning to buy one, and you like Monster Hunter, this is kind of like you said. This is a perfect storm.
It absolutely is.
I sent the link to this to Logan and I's mutual friend Levi. He's a huge Monster Hunter fan, and he has decided to buy a Switch to play Monster Hunter Rise. And so I sent him a link to this right after you told us, and he replied with the SpongeBob meme, the "I need it" from the episode at Sandy's house. Yeah,
I need it. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, that was not expected. I'm happy that this is happening.
I had to put that in the news docket. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I would have been devastated if we finished the episode and didn't talk about this. Especially being the Monster Hunter fans we are. But there's another monster-centric game that I personally am very excited for. And that's new Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon Snap.
A name that will be outdated in a year's time.
Will no longer be new.
So this is being developed by Bandai Namco, is it not?
Yeah, it's how? Why? Sure.
I don't know why they're doing it, but I have to say, from a visual standpoint, they're kind of killing it.
Yeah. Oh, it looks just fantastic. I don't want to go for the low hanging fruit, but yeah, it is definitely like way. No, I think as far as expectations are concerned, it was just way above what I thought, and is just as far as Switch games go. It's a looker. It looks good.
And from like an animation standpoint, the animations of the human characters specifically, it's downright gorgeous.
Yeah, where did this come from? They said Bandai Namco, make it for us, and we're like, okay, we'll pop off, I guess. Sure.
I mean, I just think about like the type of game this is, and like how much resources they could dedicate to just making the game look really, really solid and really pretty.
For sure.
Yeah.
And especially making the Pokemon just look like real. Yeah. Not real, but like
yeah.
Detective Pikachu real.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I haven't. I played Pokemon Snap, back on the N64, 20, 21 years ago. So I have nostalgia for it, but I'm not, I'm not like the craziest Pokemon Snap fan in the world. I'm very excited for this new entry, and I'm just sort of going in and expecting to have a good time. It's not something that it was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I wanted, but it's I'm glad that they're doing it, and I'm gonna play it.
I'm kind of falling in the same place. I, on the other hand, am a huge Pokemon Snap fan, but I wasn't like frothing at the mouth for this to happen. So when it was announced, I was like, "Oh, sick! A new Pokemon Snap."
Yeah.
I've actually never played. I never played Pokemon Snap. Not that I can think of.
So to kind of give you a quick crash course, I think the elements of Pokemon Snap that people really hang on to are the kind of like the puzzle solving elements that come into each level. So like you go into a level, and it's on rails, of course, and you're going to meet the same set of Pokemon every time you go through it. But there are different ways you can interact with the Pokemon, and that seems to carry forward in new Pokemon Snap, such as like throwing apples at them so that you can watch them eat. But there's potential to like guide a Pokemon to a specific spot using apples, and when they get to a specific location or a specific object, they might interact with it in a way you're not expecting. And in some cases, that even changes the direction you're going in the course, and that might open up a brand new selection of Pokemon that you didn't have before. So there's just an element of wonder and discovery that comes with Pokemon Snap that I think people are hoping for, and I especially am hoping for with this entry.
And I think because it has been so long since the last one, it's a good, like, we're basically in new territory with, just so many more Pokemon, so many more options that they could give us.
Yeah.
So many more things that could happen, that it's just like the possibilities are basically endless right now. And I find the concept of that really exciting right now.
You look at the original game, and I think out of the original 151, there's only 67 Pokemon available.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a really surprisingly low number. And I'm not expecting, like, 895 Pokemon or whatever the current total is in new Pokemon Snap. But I think there's going to be a lot more variety. I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I also wonder, like, how much content there's going to be, like, in terms of stages. Because Pokemon Snap, as wonderful of a game as it is, you can probably 100% it in, like, 4 or 5 hours. It's really short. And that said, like, it's a game that's designed around scoring points and replaying levels. But we've learned that this version is going to have some kind of online functionality. Logan, I don't know if you saw if that was detailed or not.
I didn't look into it. No, I just knew that it had online functionality.
Let me open up that real quick. Because, like, the big thing for me is if you wanted to make the online work is to, share pictures with people, have leaderboards for image sharing based on, the specific Pokemon. And no, it is currently not detailed as to what the online will feature, but that's probably what I anticipate will happen. Maybe you can send pictures to your friends. You'll get them in, like, a little envelope, and you'll be like, oh, look at these cute Pokemon pics my friend took. But there are some things about the original game that I hope don't carry over. The original Pokemon Snap doubled your score for a picture if you centered the Pokemon in the frame. And for those of you who know about composition and photography, we don't do that. It's we like the rule of thirds where I came from, so I hope that the scoring allows for a little more creative freedom.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't want to just get the highest scoring photo. I want to take a good photo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the new Pokemon Snap website right now looking at some of this stuff.
Okay.
And there are pictures that are detailing the scoring of the pictures.
Let's take a look at that.
And placement is part of it.
Does it describe how that works at all?
I don't know, but in the picture that they're scoring, Pikachu's right in the middle.
Oh, no.
Oh dear.
It's exactly the opposite of what I want.
So I'll just read this little blurb that they have.
Okay.
Professor Mirror will evaluate your photos. Your scores will be based on your subject's poses, how large they appear, how directly they're facing you, and their placement within the frame. So
That said,
we might be.
I'm looking at some of the scoring here. There's a set of photos of Apom, and there's one that's close up and center on. It's got 1 star, and then there's another one that's got 4 stars. It's zoomed out quite a ways, and the Apom is just barely in the bottom right corner of the picture. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like an application thing, right? Maybe it'll be like structured a little bit differently, right? Maybe there'll be like specific missions, so they'll encourage you to like replay the levels to accomplish certain missions or get certain photos, you know. And in that way, like I would hope it'd be a little more expanded than like the original, right? They'd be a little bit more creative about like replayability. And you know how these things kind of play out and what are your objectives, right? So there's obviously some scoring involved like the original, but you know maybe it goes outside of that, and maybe there's some like free play modes. So if you really want to just get some
nice.
really solid pictures
like
without having to worry about like what they're going to be scoring, you know. Maybe after you play like a mission or a stage or maybe you achieve certain things, you unlock it for free play and you can just take pictures, you know.
I also
and then post them to your social media.
I notice here in some of the example pictures, and I know that the photos on this website aren't necessarily indicative of photos that you take in game, but some of them are just pictures of landscapes. So maybe there is some kind of free play or more freedom than was featured in the original game, because you know I love Pokemon, but sometimes you know there's nothing quite like a nice landscape photo.
Oh yeah, I mean, and especially the way that like we just throw photo modes into games nowadays. It's like you would think that like, hey, we want to encourage them to take more types of pictures, right? And then also again give them the freedom to take any type of picture they want to. And that would be really cool. It'd also be cool if they were like, okay, yeah, here's the stages where you're on rails, but I don't know, maybe there is a, you know, the free play where you can kind of control and stop, you know, as needed to really get those photos that you want.
Do you think we'll have filters?
Oh, I'd be shocked if there aren't filters.
It has to be.
Because that's in every photo mode of any video game right now.
It's photo mode 101.
Yeah.
You gotta have filters.
Imagine them screwing up
N64
the
filters.
photo mode in new Pokemon Snap. Imagine them just really like messing it up.
See, that's just sometimes it's just a swing and a miss. Like what we would think would be the most obvious thing. You don't know sometimes, you know. I would have thought that this game would have come out 5 years ago on the Wii U, but I get excuse me, I guess we're getting it on the Switch now, which is fine, but you know, there was a platform and a giant tablet that was just perfect for it.
I realize that the website here answers actually one more question that we brought up during the show. It says explore beaches, jungles, deserts, and more as you photograph over 200 Pokemon.
Nice. Oh, that's a spicy meatball. That is.
Yeah, that's a huge jump over
music to my ears, basically. I think this
game's
going to have a lot of content.
This game is even going to feature something called Illumina. So some Pokemon will, and I say this for a lack of a better word, some Pokemon will be shiny. And that's kind of baked into the story somehow. So there's a little bit of an added element there.
We're gonna have a story this time.
It looks like we might. I mean, the first game kind of had a plot, even though it only mattered in one stage.
Yeah.
Also, I love the name of the region. Lentil region.
The lentil region?
Yeah.
All right. I wonder what the...
Is that a pun?
Why that one? Why that name?
I'm pretty sure. No. Lental.
Like lenticular?
Yeah,
Okay.
Hmm.
that's at least that's what I assume that it's being named after. That they're doing like a pun on like optics and whatnot because you're
I
taking pictures.
I'd like to believe that, but I looked up lentil, and the only thing I'm getting is lentil soup. But yeah,
Somebody must have been hungry.
I agree with you. It's probably a play on lenticular,
Yeah.
but they probably should have gone away from the word lentil a little bit.
Lentil soup is bomb. Let's go.
Moving on from Pokemon Snap, we got a update video today for Animal Crossing New Horizons that goes over a festival, which looks a little different this time, if I'm not mistaken. Logan, you'd know more about that than I would.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about this. It's you know, I believe somebody in our Discord brought up that it's based on like a South American festival.
Santi's in the
Which
chat. I believe it was him, if he can help clarify for us.
Which, okay, if that's the case, and it probably is the case that it's not like one of these like Western mainstay like holidays and whatnot, which is really cool, right? Because most of the time we get Easter, right, which is a lot of the like worldwide, like highly celebrated, holidays and whatnot. So it's cool to get something that is a little more specific, that goes outside of kind of a Western lens, in a sense. So it's cool to have this kind of experience. I'd love to know more exactly of what it's based on. But yeah, that update's coming on the 28th, so like literally 2 days from now.
It's
And
based
then
on Carnival, or Spanish and Portuguese for carnival.
okay,
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but he says it's a South American holiday similar to Mardi Gras.
okay,
All right.
yeah, that's really rad. And in the same update video, they mentioned that we will also be getting a March update, and it had a mushroom and a star, and it was obviously like we're getting Mario content come March.
And this was revealed in the Super Mario 35 Direct, but it was so long ago now that I think everybody on the planet forgot that this was happening, myself included.
But we're getting to the point with Animal Crossing that I'm like, oh man, like how many just like events are they going to be adding, right? Because we've been through the whole cycle now. Come March, it'll have been a year since the game has been out. So it'll be interesting to see like how many more events they'll add, if they'll add any more events at that point, or they will just stick with the ones that we have. And what other kinds of content are we bringing? Because I would love to see more recipes, and then bringing back a lot of the stuff that was kind of cut for this game. Like obviously, like where's Froggy Chair? Like what the heck? Why would they take out Froggy Chair? Obviously, Froggy Chair didn't become the phenomenon that it did until recent years, so they couldn't have necessarily anticipated that. But come on, they have a chance to rectify that and to bring us Froggy Chair. So I'm hoping to see more stuff like that.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, especially all this like Nintendo themed content. Like I miss being able to dress up like Samus, so I'm gonna need that too.
Yeah.
I want to commend Animal Crossing New Horizons too, because they have basically framed a lot of their holidays, or not framed, but they've positioned a lot of their holidays to not actually fall on the day of the holiday in real life, and I think that's a smart move.
I guess people will be doing things other than playing the game on the holiday.
Yeah, because this year, or rather last year now, Toy Day was actually on Christmas Eve and not on Christmas. And that allotted me the ability to actually go in and play that day, which I had never, ever done before, because anytime I could have, obviously I was celebrating that day, so I just couldn't do it. This is kind of nice.
I think the one exception to that might be Halloween.
And I think that's fine, specifically last year, where Halloween just kind of couldn't happen, given the nature of it.
And that being said, like with Halloween, it's usually like, okay, we're gonna do this thing in the evening, right?
Yeah,
it's only taking up so much of the day as well.
Family compared to like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that.
Right. I mean, you might be trick or treating, but like as an adult, I don't really go trick or treating anyways. I might go to a party, in the evening or something like that, get together with some friends and do some spooky stuff, but it's definitely not as ubiquitous as like, all these other events.
Michaela also mentions that Turkey Day was on actual Thanksgiving, and that's another case for, where the pandemic, again, probably got in the way of that for a lot of people. But it'll be interesting to see how they carry this forward next into this year and the year after. Because for me, I like the idea of having these holidays in game not taking place on the day of the actual holiday. And she says Bunny Day was on Easter, but at the same time, we had an entire month of Bunny Day. So
don't remind me.
I was kind of done with Bunny Day by then.
I'm getting flashbacks.
I don't play Animal Crossing, but I remember the Bunny Day controversy.
There's eggs everywhere.
Time.
And I think we're gonna end on this story today, just for time's sake. But Takaya Imamura, the designer of Tingle, has officially retired from Nintendo. And Tingle is not his only claim to fame.
I love how a lot of these like stories that I see frame it. It's like, oh, he's the guy who designed Tingle, and I'm like looking through the rest of his like the stuff he's designed, characters he designed. I'm like, you chose Tingle?
How about Captain Falcon?
Yeah,
or the Star Fox team. But yeah, he's a kind of a prolific individual in the world of Nintendo. So we're sad to see him go. That said, he's not done in the gaming industry. He's just going. He's like a free agent now. So
okay, interesting.
He'll keep working. Maybe someone will make an indie game that's like F-Zero, and he'll design the lead character for that.
I think there is a non-zero chance of that happening.
Sergeant Hawk.
I mean, we all know. What is the guys who made Fast RMX? They might just poach him now that he's not a part of Nintendo and be like, hey, we're gonna make another racing game, but this time we're gonna make actual characters. Just like how close can you get to Captain Falcon without making it like litigious?
Sergeant Hawk. That's what I would do.
There we go.
But yeah, we wish him the best. I've seen a lot of Tingle hate on Twitter the last couple days.
How dare they?
Yeah, for real. You don't hate on Tingle in my house.
Come on now. We don't do that here.
Tingle is weird and he's gross, but that's the point, and I love him for it.
Yes, and I mean, a lot of Zelda NPCs are weird and gross, and we love them for that. And I don't, as somebody who's maybe a bit more of a casual Zelda fan, I don't understand why Tingle specifically, when like those games are full of weirdos. Like I don't think Tingle is particularly stand out when it comes to weirdos.
I think quite possibly the biggest weirdo in Zelda for me personally is Mallow from Twilight Princess. The little baby-faced kid NPC that lives in the village with Link, who eventually opens his own market. His face is just...
Oh my god, one of the best characters. What a great character.
Or Uku. You remember Uku, the chicken with a human face?
Oh, yep.
Actually, I take it back. Uku's worse than Mallow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mallow's at least like funny and it's kind of endearing, right?
Yeah.
Uku's just like off-putting.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna do it for us today. But before we go, Brandon, why don't you tell everybody where people can find you?
I am on Twitter at Brandon Bovia. It's just my name, BrandonBovia. I tweet about manga. I tweet a lot about Kaiju number 8 lately because it's a freaking awesome manga and everybody should go read it. And I'm super. I'm just always excited that it is taking off in the way that it has. I've never had a project just like I have been there from the start to see the growth,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's something that I take a lot of pride in being a part of.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, if you're interested in hearing me talk about manga and occasionally video games, that's where I'll be. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
If you want to see some of Brandon's work in action, I'd suggest getting a Shonen Jump subscription. It's $1.99 a month, and you get access to just an absolute treasure trove of manga.
Over 10,000 chapters.
Yeah, there's Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8. It's all there.
Even better, you don't even actually need a subscription because the newest 3 chapters and the first 3 chapters of everything on there is free. So if you want to see my name in the credits and figure out what in God's name lettering actually means, see some of the comics I work on. Check out Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, Kaiju number 8, and Dragon Ball Super on the Shonen Jump app, and a couple of other older series that I worked on for Jump, like Tokyo Shinobi Squad and Guardian of the Witch. A fun lettering related anecdote is that I try as much as possible to diversify the dialogue fonts that I use for new series. So that's something aside from Dragon Ball, which of course I came in 9 volumes in on Super, and we used the same font that they used on the original Dragon Ball back in like 2001.
Right.
So I don't have any input on that, but given if they'll let me, I try to make my comics, the comics that I letter, like I give them their own unique feel, basically. So if you sort of like look at the stuff I work on in succession, I think you'll maybe start to notice like the choices I'm making in terms of the graphic design. I don't know. That's all real nerdy.
I'm gonna keep an eye out now because I didn't know that. So that's interesting perspective, if you ask me. So yeah, make sure you check out his work. Follow him on Twitter. There's also a link to his Twitter in the description of this YouTube video, and we'll also add it in the podcast sources or podcast services.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. I have to stop and say for a second. Every week I say we'll be back next week, and I'm sorry I keep lying to you.
It's not always a lie.
It's not always a lie. Time is difficult. We work on 3 different schedules. As you can see, Paul isn't here tonight because he's working. I promise you we're going to get better about that. You can blame me.
Actually, that being said, it might not even be next week when we get to do another episode because there might be something else in there that I've mentioned in the Discord. So if you don't know about that, you can look through the Discord on that.
Got some news
dropping. We're doing a special Nintendo Stuff extra episode later this week about the Monster Hunter movie. We saw it. I have words. I have a lot of words.
Oh my god! I haven't
certainly a movie.
I might have to try to figure out a way to watch it before I watch that episode.
I don't even know if you need to, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
Yikes.
So look forward to that because it's going to be a spicy episode of Nintendo Stuff.
I will tune in.
We'll look forward to that. But until then, we will see you next time. Don't break your backs, break in the games, but for now, break time is over.